Hello everybody. Thanks for coming out Sunday morning after seeing Big Sandy last night and having such a good time. Welcome to the second annual Western Swing Out Weekender. My name's Charlotte Del Rose. I've been doing fashion shows a really long time. I'm from Texas and my favorite passions are Western swing and vintage clothes. Yeah. We're going to start the fashion show with the king daddy of all Western shirt makers, Nathan Turk. Yeah. Found out from doing research that 95% of Nathan Turk's business was custom work. He was based in Hollywood. He invented the smile pocket or the arrow pocket for Gene Autry for all of his films, and he started in the 1930s. And I don't know if many people know this, but Nathan Turk did the gold lame Elvis suit. After Nathan Turk, our shirt is from Rare Revival Vintage, owned by our very own Christina Coffey, one of the two organizers of the entire event. Yeah. This is lovely Annabelle, and everything else that she's wearing is hers. After Nathan Turk, then of course we had Nudie Cone, and then after Nudie Cone, we have Manuel. Next up is Danielle. She is our Texas rodeo sweetheart, wearing a pony fur Western shirt from the 1940s from Vanessa Ramsey, with a gold lame string tie and gold lame belt from Vanessa Ramsey. The pants are also from Christina Coffey of Rare Revival Vintage, and she's wearing all the rest of her own hand-tooled Western outfits to show you what your rodeo queen would look like. After the rodeo queens, people wanted to look like rodeo queens, but they wanted to swing dance and Western dance and show off their beautiful, fancy outfits. This is a two-piece rayon gabardine outfit. I brought this. It came from the private collection of one of the band singer's wives, with sterling silver and onyx Native American earrings from Redhead Sadie Vintage. And this lovely Vera. Okay, next up we have our very own Tina Vines. Yeah. This is Tina Vines of Vines of the West. She is wearing a custom-made by her two-piece Western suit, custom chain stitch embroidery. And Tina Vines is carrying Western swing ties that can be purchased from any of the vendors, including Glam Factory Vintage, and she will custom design today any design that you want on it of your choice, custom. And she also, all of the lovely purses that are embroidered in this show, you'll be seeing are also from Tina Vines. And Tina was with us last year, and we're very glad she's back. So, once people wanted to start swing dancing and square dancing, they wore square dance dresses. This is a one-piece traditional square dance dress for the longer length, which you wore the very long petticoats, so you twirled but you weren't too scandalous. Worn by lovely Bridget. The dress is from Geraldine Vintage, and she is carrying a fantastic custom chain stitch embroidered purse by Tina Vines. And you can see that it has cowboy print all over it. We also, some ladies didn't want to look like square dancers, so they wore their usual 40s and 50s sundresses with a square dancer print on it. This is Miss, I'm forgetting her name. Amanda. Sorry. There's too many Amandas, Danielles, and Christinas at this event. This is a lovely Amanda. She is wearing a fantastic sundress with square dance figurines on it from Glam Factory Vintage, carrying a Vines of the West different style custom embroidered purse, and she is wearing custom designed vintage wood bead necklaces with new findings, new fittings, light as air, don't break when you swing dance, made by Jacine, which is Vanessa Ramsey, and she has all kinds for sale over in the vendor room.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Now, from square dance dresses, we went to what is called either fiesta dresses or patio dresses. These were from the Native American, Navajo, and different dresses that were worn at the fiestas that were part of rodeos and in all the rodeo days and fiesta days in New Mexico. And they were based on the broomstick skirt that Navajo women wore. And they wanted people to have something to wear for resorts that didn't get hot, that you could dance in and didn't need to be ironed. So we have gauze, one-piece dress.
Yeah.
This is Jen from Redhead Sadie Vintage. Her dress is from Redhead Sadie Vintage, and all of her sterling silver and turquoise Native American jewelry is also from Sadie Vintage, and she's carrying a Vines of the West purse. People love to wear copper jewelry, silver Native American jewelry, and bakelite and wood jewelry with their items. During World War II, people did not travel, obviously, to Europe. After World War II, they also did not travel to Europe. So traveling, riding the trains, taking Route 66, going in trailers became a very big part of American culture. So people embraced and mixed and matched everything, and people stayed stateside and kept it American and kept it Western.
Yeah.
Next up, we have a two-piece patio dress worn by our very own dance instructor, Kim Clever. This two-piece patio set is from Swift Vintage, copper belt from Redhead Sadie Vintage, and copper cuff and copper starburst earrings from Debbie of Starburst Vintage. Kim is wearing her own shoes, but you can also see how easy to dance, how easy to twirl. The ones that were pleated, you literally wound it up and tied it with a rubber band, stuck it in your suitcase, and when you pulled it out, the parts were perfect, and there were no need to iron. Thank you very much, Kim. Ladies that weren't necessarily vintage liked the full skirts that they were seeing. They liked the full skirts of the Dior dresses, so they started wearing novelty print skirts. This is a lovely Christy wearing a jewelry display rhinestone studded silk screened novelty print skirt from a Walk Through Time Vintage. She's carrying also a wood bead purse for Walk Through Time Vintage. During World War II, again, you were not able to get beads because they came from Eastern Europe. So people started making beads out of wood and painting them. They made all kinds of jewelry out of them. And she is wearing amazing, not necessarily for dancing, but looking very gorgeous Betty Grable pinup, hand-tooled leather platform shoes from Swift Vintage.
Oh, yeah.
So, when people were traveling to different places in the United States, they also wanted souvenir skirts, souvenir everything. So if you went to Arizona or the desert, you were wearing your souvenir skirt with the Sonoran Desert and yucca plants on it. This came from my booth. You could get Mount Rushmore, you could get New Orleans riverboats, and it's become one of the hottest vintage collectibles, and we can see why. Again, I shoved this in my suitcase and I just hung it up and I didn't have to iron it. Travel increased drastically in the 1950s to Mexico. Taking the traditional Mexican and Mayan designs, this is the typical Mexican skirt pattern where it had a double waistband, so when you danced it didn't come off. She is wearing a custom done 1950s Mexican top with sequins from Vanessa Ramsey, and a beautiful, they were hand painted on a giant round wooden wheel. They painted them in public in the squares for people to watch. It was like a giant round wooden table that leaned against the wall. The artist sat on a chair and painted and turned and painted and turned. So nobody wants to wash these too much. And you got to be careful about the dry cleaners because a lot of times the sequins melt. And the skirt is from Redhead Sadie Vintage. And this is the lovely Daisy May. People started wanting to do the Mexican souvenir skirts for the evening. This is a very rare taffeta printed hand-painted skirt with a beautiful flower stellar done in sequins. And you could take your really cool 1950s sexy sequin top and put it with it. The skirt is from Christina Coffey, Rare Revival Vintage, as well as a sequin top. And the silver bead necklace is from Starburst Vintage. And this is the lovely Maria. And they went even farther. The resort towns of Acapulco and Cancun had fantastic resort wear. Our very own costume contest judge, Christina Palomo of Skirt Chaser Vintage, provided this outfit for Georgianne. Come out, Georgianne, and let them see what you wore to the resort. This is hand-painted sequin with the sexy halter top. And Georgianne was, just a couple of weeks ago, at the Emerald Ball here in Los Angeles. She won Best of the Best Champion in International Latin Dancing. Influences from all of the Southwest were all put together. We hope you enjoyed a taste of what our vendors have to offer. The vendor room is next to the old Kelsey's restaurant across the street and down one block. We're open until 6 o'clock. And of course the whiskey tasting is in the back of the room at 2 o'clock. So we hope there's lots of drunk buying in the afternoon. Thanks to all of our vendors for loaning their outfits to us. Most of them are available for purchase. If they're not, there's something equally as fantastic. And thank you to all the models. All the models come in for a walk-on. One last picture.
Here we go.
It's going to be for the newspaper, town newspaper. Thanks everybody for coming too.